Derek, we are now live.
Connected.
We are connected. Thanks for hanging out on a Friday night, my friend.
Absolutely. Thank you for inviting me, sir.
Sir, I appreciate this, sir. First, I want to ask you this question. When did you realize, were you in a city on a weekend when you realized life was about to change? Where were you? How'd you figure this out?
I was actually filming online classes over at Tim Milgram Studio, and I was doing 2 classes, and we were on like a 5-minute break, and that's when they're like, the lockdown's happening tonight.
How long ago was that?
I think 3 weeks ago, something like that. On a Friday, I know that. I just know it was Friday. So we just scurried in, ran, wrapped up, taught really quick, tried to get it all in, and then I went home and I just kind of prepared. I was debating whether to go home to my mom who lives in Arizona, but I decided to stay here, and that's how it all started, I guess.
I want to ask you some other things, but I'm going to go there for a second because I know you and I have talked about it already. LA in lockdown, what's it like?
Quiet. It's quiet. It's peaceful. It's at first it was a little spooky, but I feel like with time I'm actually growing accustomed to it being a little bit slower pace. The sunsets have been incredible. The skies have been clear. There's not as much horns and traffic and yelling and shouting, and I'm kind of into the silence, the peace, for sure.
You brought up your mom in Arizona. Does Sedona, Arizona mean something to you?
Sedona?
Yeah.
Yeah, my mom lives like about, I'd say maybe 15 minutes away from there. And I debated going there right away because I was like, I'm just gonna pack up. I had suitcases with clothes in it. I didn't know where I was going. I was actually gonna go to Hawaii. And I went to LAX that Monday after I found out. And when I got to the airport, I had a huge panic attack. I was like, people were hugging each other, passing passports and license and all that. I was like, I can't do this. So I turned around, went right back home. Then I was like, well, then maybe I'll go to Sedona and see my mom, Cottonwood area. And I was like, I actually want to just see where this goes first before I just throw everything in my car and go. So I didn't make it there yet. I still might go there. I still think about it. But
cool.
I'm enjoying seeing LA. Like, I really want to be part of the process. I want to see where LA goes. What does this mean for my community? And
wait, what are your thoughts on that in general? Do you think it's about to change the community? And if you do, in what ways?
I think a lot of the materialism is dissipating. I think that's kind of clearing out. I think a lot of people have had a lot of light bulbs with like, I feel like we were living in a video game. I feel like it was just very networking and connections and appearance and look and money and all that. And that I don't feel that anymore. So I have a feeling that LA will adjust to that. I think it's always going to be a commercial place. It's going to be an industry. I think that will always be there. But I think the importance of that is fading for real.
Has it made you rethink are you different now than 3 weeks ago? Derek Schrader, dancer, choreographer.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I live alone, so I'm like in isolation station by myself.
I get it.
Yes, right?
But I don't mind it. If for people listening, do you mind it?
No, because I'm enjoying the things that it's digging up. It's like digging up how busy I was or how preoccupied I was with like, I don't want to do that. I don't want to think about that. I don't want to feel that. So I'm going to go run, take this class, grab my Starbucks, meet with these people, work on this class, work on this video. And now you're just, boom, you're pushed into it to like really
Yeah, because maybe we were living a life. See what you think of this. We were living a life where if we weren't occupied, we weren't moving forward. And I need to have a sip too. Go ahead.
No, I felt like we put our value on our output. And if we weren't completely exhausted by how much we gave every day, then I felt like I wasn't doing my job or that I wasn't good enough or I don't deserve success. I don't deserve this if I'm not always hustling. And now that I'm living in LA and nothing's going on anyways, it's very interesting to see how I fit into this city or is this a good fit? I'm still thinking about that. I'm still processing that.
I want to come back to that, but I want to now take you back in time. Who was, let's say, Derek Schrader, age 10-ish?
Oof.
And I just said Schrader, and it's Schroeder. And by the end of this, I'm going to have Schroeder down.
I always, if you think like a straw, German, Schroeder, 10-year-old Schroeder was, that's actually around the age that I found dance. So at 10, I had seen my cousin's dance recital and some kid in their group was dressed up as a football player and the whole audience was like cheering and screaming. And I was like, I can do that. I want to do that. Like, yeah, let's do that. So at 10 is when I found dance. I started as a tapper. And to me, I just felt like that was a whole new way of expressing myself as a 10-year-old, which was really kind of confusing at first. But I was also a piano player before that. So tap was like, oh yeah, we got this. We can do this.
First, let me ask this. Did you know as soon as you were tapping that you were like, okay, I found my groove, I found my thing, or did it take a while?
I still kind of felt awkward in picking that up. It wasn't until I started taking ballet that I was like, oh, this is even a whole new world of what is even possible, like with upper body and expression. I was really like attracted to, I remember we did Circle of Life from Lion King, a lyrical, when I went to another studio and I was like, oh my gosh, that was it. That was it.
You were one of the 20,000 circles of life and you were inspired by it. How cool is that?
I even remember it was 2 pushbacks with jazz hands into an inside attitude. And I was just, I mean, the passion, the life, it was so good. Yeah. But I think it was just like the more styles that I took, the more I realized that like, oh, there's so much that I can express here and say here and learn. Oh my gosh. For sure.
How old were you when you felt the passion? I think you'll know what I mean when I say that.
Yeah, that fire.
Yeah.
It was probably when I first started choreographing my own solos. I was like, I'd say maybe 14, 15. And that was even a whole new way to express what I really wanted to say. You know, I'm a Taurus, I'm super stubborn. I'm really like fiery earth sign. And yeah, when I started like choreographing and performing my own work too. And then people would really respond to that or come up to me and I was like, oh, this is cool. People get it. Like they get my voice because I felt misunderstood for a long time. So to be able to put that on stage and be like, this is me, like it or not. I mean, I did some weird stuff, but
I want to dig deeper. Why did they, or did you just use the word awkward? What word did you use?
Awkward. Yeah.
Were you different than the other kids? Is that what you're saying?
Oh, for sure. I mean, I was like, I'm just a mix of everything, just a jelly belly bag of everything.
I love that you say that because I get the feeling.
Oh, I still feel that way, but now, like, you know, as you grow up and you experience things, you're like, oh, that's what actually made you special. But at the time, you thought you were crazy, creepy, weird, all those things. But yeah, I said awkward because I said W as a kid. Do you know what that is?
No, say it. Explain it.
It's like where you sit down, but your knees are facing forward. So I sat W for so long that my knees actually, like, my hips are rotated in and my kneecaps are like grown inward. I know this sounds really weird, but that affected me like learning dance and to learn how to tap, and like my weight distribution was totally different just because of that. And then I have a really long spine with a really sway back. Like my body was not meant to be a dancer. I don't think it was just a weird process. But that's what I said when I started doing ballet. It was like, okay, we can work with this. We can do this for sure. But yeah, it was awkward. Still am.
And to our listeners, you're looking at a guy that everybody looks at who's a beautiful teacher and a beautiful dancer, and him saying that, I hope that encourages everyone to know that we all have doubts about ourselves at times. Yes?
Sure.
So Derek, name some of the studios or teachers that helped to mold who Derek Schrader is. Schrader.
Everybody's, I respond to both. I think the main one for me was Teresa Rolfe and Corey Rolfe. They're a family at Northland School of Dance. That was like the one place that I went to where they offered pretty much every style that I wasn't even aware of. I didn't even know like that kind of training was possible. I went there because my best friend danced there, and I was like, oh, she's got it. I want what that is. I don't know how you get that, but that's what I want. But they kind of started that fire. And then after that, I feel bad. I was a studio hopper. I hopped around a lot. Sorry.
Okay, you don't have to say you're sorry, but this is the time if you were a studio hopper to say who were those people that had the influence on you.
Teresa and Corey, Robin Lind was a really big part. That was kind of the crossover between me choreographing and still performing and getting training that way. From there, my mom would fly me out to LA, and I learned like solos and choreography when I was younger from Nancy and Andre Paradis.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And then ever since then, I was really doing a lot of my stuff like in my garage, that I just developed that style through being there. And then after I started to get a voice as a choreographer, my like true mentor, I believe, was Dawn. She owns Dance Review in Ramsey, Minnesota. Hi guys. She was the one who was like, you need to choreograph, you need to teach, but she really was like reining me in on like how to work with kids and how to communicate and how to clean dances, how to order costumes. I actually graduated high school through her mentoring me and working at the studio. I would go to high school, which was not the most fun for me, and then afterwards go to the studio and choreograph and watch. And it was, I mean, we would be there till midnight sometimes, just talk and shop. And that was a really big thing for me.
So you learned how to be a studio director in a way without even trying, right?
Without even knowing, yeah. That was my family, still is my family. Yeah, that was a huge thing for me.
How did that influence you as you moved to LA? Like, how does that impact you, your experience? And I don't know if we ever brought it up, but we're talking Minnesota here, right?
Yeah. Minnesota, Midwest.
How did all those teachers and people who inspired you, what'd you take with you to LA from them?
To be honest, I think some of my, I would say professionalism for sure. I think that I learned a lot about how to run a business. Lisa Schroeder at Spotlight Productions Dance Studio in Minnesota too, when I transferred over there and did a lot of choreography for them, it was like showing me how to even organize and present myself and to believe in what I'm doing. That was a big thing. For LA, I wasn't even expecting to move here. I went on a road trip with my brother. We just drove out to California. And then I think it was maybe 2 weeks later, I'm like, I'm gonna stay here. So if you wanna fly back, cool, but I'm gonna do this for a little bit. And then through that, I would call on my mentors and be like, oh my God, what am I doing? do like, where do I go? How do I get, where I need to go? But it all,
And where did you go? Where was the first place you landed when you came to LA where you felt safe?
oh, where I felt safe, I would say I found this furnished apartments in Burbank, and that's where I would stay. And then I would just take class at the Edge as much as I could. Three, four.
Who were some of those teachers?
I connected with Carrie LeGrand, who teaches on Tremaine. She was huge mentor for me to figure out and navigate around the whole dance industry. Denise Leitner, I don't know if you know her. Denise was huge. Terry Best, oh my gosh. Terry Best was huge. Malaya, Manny Moore. I mean, Doug Caldwell taught me some great life lessons in class at that 8:30 to 10:30 spot at the Edge. Those were big ones. Those were the ones that stand out to me the most, for sure.
A lot of people listening are teachers, and I think during this time, it's good for all of us to look back at the people who helped us to get to where we are. Little parts, big parts, people who didn't even know they had a part.
Right.
And I appreciate that you can look back and see all those people.
I connected with them right away. As soon as this whole thing started happening, I was like, gonna call these people and just check in and like actually have time to sit with them. And
have you done it? Have you had those kind of conversations?
Long ones.
So tell me, because you're this guy everybody looks up to. You're always dancing. You're Instagram. You're putting out what people need or expect. Now you're making these phone calls to teachers. You probably never had time to do it before, right? Or mentors. Did you have
time? I didn't make time. I'm kind of beating myself up on that now that I've had this moment of calm and clarity, that those phone calls mean everything to me. Just to check in and know they're there and to know more about what they're going through and learning from each other has been a really cool thing for me to experience. Because like I was saying before when we were talking, I felt like I was easily able to like confirm things and go on to the next, or send that heart emoji. Yes, there's love there. Next. And now I'm like, no, we need to have a little bit more substance like we used to, because that's what, transformed me. Those are my roots. Those are my people. That's my village. So to go back there, it has brought up some like interesting feelings and some really great memories. So it's kind of nice to just do a reset, to go back to that, open up the album of the brain and have all those, moments, and to relive that is pretty cool. And I still have them by my side, and their support is like major.
Yeah. Sometimes there's people out there who've helped us along the way that we realize once we get to hook up with them, they've been with us the whole time.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Absolutely.
Yeah, that makes you feel really loved. Like they loved you even though you didn't have the time, and they're proud of you anyway, even though you were feeling a sense of.
They're still giving me guidance. Like they're still like, to this day when I talk to them, they're like, have you considered, this is what we love. This is what, this is what you could provide. This is what, makes you you. I'm like, oh my gosh, that is what makes me me. Like, why didn't, think about that? But it's cool. It's pretty cool.
I don't know if I've ever dug into this with you, but I can feel every time that we have a talk, either at a conference or whatever, that there's something inside of you that's been through maybe growing up where kids didn't understand you, or because you chose dance, it was a tough life. Want to talk about that?
Sure.
And why do I ask? Not to make you feel uncomfortable, but there's people listening who need to know that if they feel the passion for the art of dance and other people don't understand it, you must carry on with what your passion is. That's why I ask you the question.
Right. No. Yes, you are right. Growing up was a little bit of not a little bit of a challenge. It was definitely a challenge. I think when I first started dancing, I was like, oh my God, I wanted to share with so many people. I was like, I mean, I even asked my teachers when I was in elementary school, like, can I show everybody my new solo? And they would bring people in and I would like create some sort of talent show within the school. I was really like into that. And then once I hit junior high, it wasn't cute anymore. It wasn't, people weren't not, you know, it wasn't like, Derek's different. Like he's doing something. It was more like, what is that? What is he? You know, and that was really, really tough. And I grew up in a really large junior high school community. There was a lot of kids, a lot of families around there. So for me, I was like, it was weird because something I was so excited about and so fiery about was also the thing that people are like distancing themselves from. I felt very, very alone, very misunderstood. And I actually had to transfer schools to a smaller school because it was getting dangerous for where I was at. It was a lot of bullying. Things were stolen, burned, just constant threats. And I'm actually just starting to share that more with my family, especially with my brother, of like what I actually went through. And they're, you know, they did not know a lot of this information because I was like, well, I don't want to be a burden to them. So I went through school just really, really tough skin and really muted myself to survive. Honestly, that was a really hard thing. Then once I transferred schools to a much smaller school, it's weird to get planted into a high school. When I went to high school, to go into a high school where these people have grown up with each other since day one in a very small town. And for me to come in like shuffle ball change, hey guys, I'm the new kid, didn't work. And especially back then, I mean, different times, male dancers were not necessarily
Right.
celebrated as much, you know? So that's when I started to have, I was doing the work release program to work at a studio because I could not, I mean, I was hiding in the art room. My art teacher was pretty awesome. And she helped me get through some of that to just be like, this is what you need to do. She really helped me organize just to survive. And she knew my situation. So she was a lifesaver. Tracy, you're awesome. Yeah, that's how it happened. But then once I graduated, I felt like,
Liberated.
a little bit. That's why I just still try to tell kids like, I'm here, I get it, I understand. No, it is not okay.
I'm probably, I don't know, I don't want to say how old you are, Derek, but I was 36 before I would tell anybody what I went through as a kid. Now I shout it out.
Yes.
Because my mind's similar to yours, different situations, and an earlier time. Like I can't ever remember a time when anybody thought it was cool that I danced. Like I didn't get that period.
Yeah.
It was always something that I had to deal with, beat up, abused, and it makes you feel like there's something wrong with you. That's why I said it took me till I was 36. I wrote about it in Dance Magazine. It was like they asked me to write a column, and I wrote this thing that was way longer than the column was supposed to be, because one day I'm like, I'm just doing this. And they made it a feature article, and it was like, wow, I just came out of the closet.
Right.
My
Yeah.
mother was gone already, but the whole world around me knew now what I dealt with, and it felt great.
Freedom.
Yeah.
Freedom.
Nothing to be ashamed of how people treated you. It's actually their problem, their fault. And I don't mean this in like a vendetta way, but you might have experienced this already. Sometimes now with social media, I look back at the people who gave me a hard time, and they're having a hard time.
There's dark, I think that I say this to a lot of people. I think there's a darkness, that some people just have a darkness. And I think I was quick to absorb that because those are the kind of people that I had to look out for. I always, you know, sensitive, jumpy. Yeah. And then I go back and see that
But
maybe
doesn't
following them.
it's what makes you a better artist. It's what makes you a more compassionate person. You bring that to your art, your expression, your teaching. I look back sometimes, people feel bad when I tell them the story. I go, don't feel bad. It's not it's who I am. It's not like your experience. What you like about me is because I went through that. I wouldn't be who I was if I had not experienced that. You got thoughts on what I just said?
Oh, absolutely. I feel like my intuition was stronger for those times, for a sense of protection and where I feel comfortable and where I'm safe. So I feel like there's something, I don't know if it's something chemically in me, but when I'm, with people or, choreographing, there's this feeling, there's this weird little feeling that you're in the right spot, or these are your people. And I'm slowly, as I'm getting older, I'm like, this is my safety thing that I didn't have growing up. Because for me, all I did was use that power and that energy in me to defend myself. So now that I can use it in a more of a purposeful way, I feel like my voice is growing even as we speak through that experience with the bullying and all that, that life. But I needed that. I think that's part of my story. That's in my book forever. And I survived. I didn't think I was going to. There's a lot of times where it got pretty scary. So yeah, I use that.
Yeah, that's the survival. That's when I work with teachers right now who are, nervous about the future. I remind them of, opening their schools with 10 students and having 400 now. You have survived. There have been things that you have been through that have prepared you for survival at this time. Maybe not even relating to your school, life lessons. You can do this. Everybody can pull up their bootstraps and do this. And grab the possibility of our time, not that it's changing everything, but that this is opening up possibilities. Tell me your thoughts on that statement.
I think there's opportunity. I really do. I think this is a chance of opportunity. Not a fresh start, but to really, you have time. You know what I mean? Like,
that's so simple, right? But what you just said is the truth. We have time.
Yeah, the things that you wanted to do or the things that, gave you that feeling of inspiration, do it now. Yes, go. We're all in the same awkward, oh my God, what is going on? Well, use it. Yeah, what is going, I feel like personally that this is a chance for me to.
Oh, hang on 1 second.
Yeah.
I just hit something and ended up. Okay, go ahead. We're good.
No, I'm just saying that I feel like maybe that feeling of inspiration, do it now. You got a ghost in your room?
No, what happened was our live, I must have hit a button. Our live came up live on my other screen here. So your voice was coming in from 2 places, which is cool. Because I think you have, I think you have good things to say.
Yeah. No, I was just saying that for me, I feel like I'm practicing, I'm supposed to say that. I'm practicing being a little bit more gentle with myself in trying new things. I feel like now is the time to fail at things and to try. We're all screwing up and doing the wrong thing and fidgeting with our computers and not connecting. And it's like, we have everybody's kind of compassion on our side. So I feel like, why not try everything? Try it all. Give it a whirl, whatever. If it doesn't work.
What's something you want to give a whirl or something you stepped out of your comfort zone to do in the last couple of weeks?
This online, connecting, the Zoom, the online classes, tutorials is just a new thing for me because, my work, it's like, I like really powerful things. I like people that just dig in. And for me, I'm like, jerky do on my computer, but now I'm slowly starting to figure it out, figure out how this works. But For me, I've been doing online tutoring, online, privates, teaching online, Zoom classes, but I mean, my process in that was not the prettiest. But after you do it, don't you agree that once you just do it, like just stop thinking about it and do it,
You
then
figure it out.
yeah, you learn everything that you're needing to know and to figure out, and you learn as you go.
I'll say this to you how I look at it at this point. When I was younger, my father used to say, I don't care how many pirouettes you do, it's show business. And I look at where we are, and you expressed yourself with big movement in front of big groups of kids with loud music and the vibe. You could create this vibe that was Derek. Now you have to create that vibe in a totally new way. And hear this, it isn't about right now, and I hope part of it stays this way. You're teaching somebody how to do a great, I don't know, lay out to the side and your legs, whatever. You got it, right? It's about your communicating the passion to them, because that's about as big as we can move right now. And that was really the base of dance the whole time.
Yeah, for sure. It's been cool. That has been an adjustment, but it's been kind of fun for me to try to choreograph things that are like just as powerful, but in like a 6x6.
Yeah.
And I've enjoyed that. The first couple times I was trying to do this, I'm like, this is not even going to go anywhere. But now people are actually starting to be like, I'm breaking a sweat. I feel like you're in the room with me and we're doing this together, but it is a smaller space. But I like the challenge. I honestly feel open to it, but I've done a lot of work to the years to let myself be more experimental with that. And I think it's slowly starting to pay off. Like it's all kind of stacking itself up. All my experiences are stacking up right now to use this time in a way that I enjoy too. So it's been cool too. Like after I teach, I get to go like one-on-one with these kids who aren't distracted by hundreds of kids in the room. It's just each kid in the room. And when I'm talking, I feel like they're actually more involved. They're there. I mean, I'm right there. I'm talking to them. I got them. So it's been a good process. I don't know. I'm in a good space with this right now. Ask me tomorrow and it might be different, but right now I'm feeling really like grateful for it and the connecting. I miss the connecting because with Tremaine, I love that atmosphere. I love the Tremaine convention atmosphere, but this is totally different. So it makes me work my head a little different, makes me get a little bit sharper and learn a new skill of figuring all this stuff up online. And it's okay. And I'm going to make mistakes. I did make mistakes. But
Listen, I made so many. And people will try to remind you of those mistakes, but that just gives me more enthusiasm to be better, if that makes sense. So Joe Tremaine, just when I say that name, what is it? What comes to your mind?
He's my dance dad. I feel like the more that I still feel like I'm training under him, the more that I learn from him, the more that I'm in his dance family and his legacy. He's my dance dad for sure. I'm always learning from that man, even from a distance. Like he still checks in with all the faculty. He's super, like, he just has a good team. He's smart. He knows people. He knows how to stay cool and calm in all these, situations. And when you say Joe Tremaine, I can't say anything. Can I just do an action? When you say
yeah, because other people will get it.
It's Joe. It's Joe Tremaine. Legend, legacy.
Well, since you said it that way, I got to dig deeper in this question. So when did you do your first convention gig for Joe Tremaine?
I think it was maybe 12 years ago. I've had dialogue on when this started, but I know that I went with Carrie LeGrand. I was taking her class in LA, like I'd said before. She was like, hey, do you want to come assist me in Chicago? I was like, yeah. I've never been to a Tremaine. I wanted to go when I was younger, but I was too afraid. I thought I didn't know anything about the convention life at that time. But I went and I was like, oh my gosh, this is a whole new world. It was very overwhelming at first, but then he had invited me to do his nationals in Orlando, and that was a whole event too. And I'm just like, this man is creating some magical thing, and I can't put my finger on I still can't put my finger on how it is to be. I don't know. He's just on it.
How it is to be is, you said the word, it's legacy. It's years and years and years. You learn your craft. He is a pro.
Yeah.
He knows who to surround himself with to stay with what's going on, yet he can stay there all the time.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
So when you got that call that said, "Hey, Derek, we want you to teach your own class," were you scared to death?
I wasn't because I had been teaching since I was like 16. So when I almost felt like, for me, it honestly felt like, I mean, it's a little overwhelming and like, oh my gosh, you get the jitteries and the excitement. But for me, I was like, I can do this. This just makes sense. I've been doing this, teaching forever, and a lot of it in different, from recreational to competition to pre-professional, all that stuff. And it just seemed like, yes, this fits. And the people he had around him, like, these people get me, they accept it. So it just felt like a natural progression. I don't know. But then, yeah, when I got on stage, I mean, I was shaking like a leaf. I was like, oh my God, this is real life. This is real life. But I still get that feeling. And that's what I love. I think that's why I still love Tremaine so much, is because it still gives me that, like, it's always different. Every class is different. Every city is different. It's
Do
pretty
you miss it right now? Do you feel this absence of it?
Yeah. This specific tour, the Tremaine on Fire Legacy Tour that we were having, this was one of my favorites. And I don't quite know why, but it just, the vibe of it was so good that I was like, oh my gosh, we were so close. We only had, I think it was like 4 cities left. We had done 16 cities, and I was like,
whoa,
that was a hard pivot to the other side. I mean, it was just, for me personally, I was really, loving it, and I was ready for it. And I was pacing myself for this. I think we all were pacing ourselves for something. And then when that happened, it was just like, whoa, I mean, that's obvious, but it's hard right now. Yeah. Because for me, that's what we do. I've always been trained to complete things that you start, especially under Tremaine. It's just like, we do it, we're efficient, we got this will happen, and that will happen, and that will finish, and it'll be great. And then it was like, brr.
Do you know how many people out there, and I'm one of them too, are like, I have never canceled, stopped, no matter what there is. I've done it sick. You've done it sick. With that, the show must go on thing isn't even possible right now. We are forced, entertainment people are forced to not even live by their own rules. You did a show no matter what.
Yeah,
But
absolutely.
the show has stopped for a little while. It's a new show. It's a show about compassion
And connection. Yeah, I agree. The show changed.
The show changed. I'm with you on going with it. Sometimes I feel bad because I tell people that I have a lot to worry about, because I have some worries equal to what other people are not sleeping about. But there's a side of me I'm not scared. I'm willing to go with the flow. You'll get this. I've been a gypsy. I've slept in a back of a car for 2 nights. If you said we had to drive a car like this and live in this 2-bedroom house for a couple of years, I might like it better.
Yeah.
So give us some final words. I loved talking to you tonight because you're real, my friend. I knew that about you from the first time I met you, but you're a real guy. I appreciate that so much. And I hope you know what I mean when I say that.
I do. And I feel like that's why we connected the first time that we met. I was like, oh, this is a real one. Yeah. For me For sure. I feel like this time too is the time where people that are really, really meant for you and are on your collective, your frequency are coming together just like we are right now. I just feel like that's the exciting part to me, is like not the fluff has been removed, but the fluff has been removed. It's real, you know. You have
Yeah.
to know about people. You have to connect. You have to learn what they're going through in order for you to proceed with what your purpose is as well. So it's a whole new thing.
Give our viewers some final words that you can share related to accepting the future and not worrying about the change, or that it's not so scary that it might not be the same.
I've kind of gone into this, and I've had to learn this and trust this, is that the universe isn't made to beat you up. The universe isn't there to shut you down or stop your momentum. I feel like the universe is always guiding us, is always a light. So I try to remember that no matter what is happening, it's on my side. This is meant for me, this is not meant for me, and just trying to be a little bit more fluid. But I feel like if we're too wrapped up in the stress of like, you know, all of it, then you miss those cues, you miss those people, you miss what the universe is offering you, and the universe is going to keep showing up in different ways to help guide you. But I do feel supported by some source. So no matter, I feel like for the next day, whatever, I will be supported by some sort of source that is saying, I want you to do well. I want you to learn this lesson to be better for tomorrow. But you have to believe in that too and put it to work. It's a practice. You have to practice a lot of those feelings, which is not always comfortable, but.
Yeah, and you have to trust your own instinct and know that there is a higher power. It's not something you can describe. There is a guidance that happens in your life. You just got to hear it or see it or feel it, I believe.
Yeah, and believe that it's there to help you and guide you, not that it's, you know, to stack stress on you. It's like, you're not listening, so I need to keep putting this on your plate until you actually make your move. Like, stop being stubborn.
I wish we were taught that when we were 10. You know how much misery and stress we would save ourselves if it didn't take us so long in life to figure out what you just said.
But I think a lot of people, all ages right now, are figuring it out, and they're feeling it for sure. Yeah.
That's a cool thing. As you know, I say, how cool is that? You're awesome. I'm looking forward to hanging out with you again. I'm going to tell you something because maybe some of our listeners will write and say, I want to do it. I want to get like 6, 7 male dancers together and either a Friday night or whatever night, hang up and talk about what it was like growing up as male dancers.
Absolutely.
And it be real with, you know, people who have survived that and people who didn't experience it at all, because there are some out there who. Oh, hang on. That was you again, Derek, a double Derek for tonight to close this out. So you into that show if I want to do it?
Yeah, I'm down. You know I'm down.
I know you're down, and I appreciate that you are down. I appreciate all our listeners. I keep saying listeners because I'm used to podcasts, but I appreciate all of our viewers, listeners, dance friends. We're here 6 nights a week. Tune in tomorrow. It's Saturday night with Jackie Slight.
Oh, love that.
Thank you, Derek.
Thank you. I appreciate you. Thank you, guys.
I appreciate you.